There's no supermarket here, no refrigeration, no trucks bringing food every day. But take a look at this. Something is moving slowly inside a plastic box, almost silent, almost invisible. And yet, it's producing protein every single day. It cost about $10 to build. I built something that actually makes a difference. Now, I'm not going to say this is some revolutionary invention. It isn't. Farmers have known about this for hundreds of years. Insect farming. Crickets, larvae, beetles. They've been used in rural villages across Asia, in farming communities throughout Africa, and even on small farms in Latin America, places where meat is expensive, difficult to store, or simply not available every day. The reason you've almost never heard about it is, honestly, because it's too simple, and it works too well for anyone to need to sell you an expensive version of it. So let me show you how to build one. You've seen this your whole life. You just never realized what you were looking at. A cricket jumping in the backyard, a larvae breaking down food scraps, a small colony of insects quietly converting waste into protein. This is basically the same thing large companies are trying to replicate with automated farms worth millions of dollars, except you can do it in your backyard. The principle is simple. Insects are extremely efficient biological machines. They convert food into protein far more efficiently than cows, chickens, or pigs. Crickets, for example, need 6 times less feed than cattle to produce the same amount of protein, and they grow fast, very fast. In about 30 to 40 days, a colony can multiply several times over. What you're building is essentially a simple system that allows this process to happen. No electricity, no expensive machinery, no complicated maintenance. You set it up, and they do the work, while you sleep. And here's the part that always amazes me when I think about it. There are trillions of edible insects on Earth right now. More available protein than all the world's livestock combined, and almost no one is growing them on a small scale. That's the big idea. Now let's get to the parts list. And I want to be completely honest with you. This is literally all you need. One large plastic storage box with a lid, something you can find in almost any household store, about $5. A small piece of mesh or fine screen for ventilation, another $1 to $2. Some cardboard egg cartons, probably free. A small container for water and another for food. That's it. If you already have a plastic box at home, you could build this for less than $5. No tools needed except something to cut 2 small holes in the lid, and many stores will even do that for you if you ask. First, prepare the main box. This will be the habitat. Cut 2 small openings in the lid and cover them with mesh. This allows airflow while preventing the insects from escaping. Next, place the egg cartons inside the box. This creates hundreds of small spaces where the insects can live, hide, and reproduce. Insects love vertical surfaces and tight shelters. Now, add a small container with simple feed. This could be cornmeal, vegetable scraps, fruit peels. Insects are incredibly efficient at converting food waste into protein. Also, add a small piece of damp sponge or cotton with water. This prevents them from drowning while they drink. Now here's the mistake many people make on their first attempt. They close the box completely with no ventilation. Don't do that. Insects need airflow. Ventilation keeps the environment dry, reduces odors, and keeps the colony healthy. Place the box somewhere warm and protected. Between 24 and 30 degrees Celsius is perfect. A garage, a covered backyard, or even a corner of the kitchen. Now comes the interesting part. You add a small starter colony, maybe 50 or 100 crickets, or a few hundred beetle larvae. And then you wait. What happens over the next few weeks is simply biology doing what it has always done. They eat, they grow, they reproduce, and they turn small amounts of food into high-quality protein, much faster than any traditional farm animal. My first box produced around 200 adult crickets in about a month, which doesn't sound like much until you realize the colony keeps growing. Under good conditions, the population can double or even triple each cycle. In slightly larger setups, people produce hundreds of grams of protein per week with a system that fits under a table. Scale it to a few boxes, and now you have a micro-protein farm running continuously. A human needs about 50 to 70 grams of protein per day. Scale this properly, and a small insect farm can provide a significant portion of that need. No pasture, no expensive feed, no trucks transporting food. Now let's talk about consumption. Insects are actually extremely nutritious. Crickets contain more protein by weight than beef. They're also rich in iron, calcium, and essential vitamins. But if the idea of eating a whole insect doesn't sound very appealing, there's a simple solution. Dry the insects, then grind them. This creates insect protein flour. It can be added to bread, protein bars, pancakes, or even smoothies without changing the flavor very much. And if you want to ensure food safety, simply roast them or cook them before consuming. That eliminates bacteria and makes the food completely safe. Protein produced at home for less than $10. The thing about this project that always makes me think is how ancient this idea really is. People have been raising insects for food for thousands of years. Ancient civilizations in Mexico, Thailand, and parts of Africa relied on them as a regular source of protein. But somewhere along the way, as industrial agriculture grew and supermarkets became the norm, we completely forgot about it. Food started coming wrapped in plastic, and the old knowledge stayed quiet, almost forgotten. Until now. $10. One plastic box, one afternoon of building, and that knowledge returns to your hands. I don't know what your situation is or why you're watching. Maybe you're thinking about self-sufficiency. Maybe you're building an off-grid life, or maybe you just enjoy simple projects that actually produce something useful. It doesn't matter. It works either way. Now you know. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.